Stepping out of the metro makes me feel like I might have been a little bit optimistic to bring my sunglasses out. Good morning. What is today? Wednesday. It's Wednesday, and I'm in the 14th arrondissement today, checking out the quarter of Plaisance. Plaisance. I love this metro stop, by the way. It's amazing. Oh man, it's supposed to be warm and not rain today, and then look what happens. Never trust the weather forecast or your friends who say they know what the weather is going to be in Paris. Just always bring your rain gear. Noob mistake on my part. Anyways, Plaisance is a delightful quarter named after a farm that was called Plaisance. It's got a long history. I don't fully understand exactly the nuances of it, but one of the interesting things about getting out into these outer arrondissements and these outer districts, and today's a really, really big quarter, we're probably not even going to see half of it. There's a lot of history out here that's very farmy and very quaint, and so the more that I'm getting into it, the more I'm like, oh, it's so cool. So think of all the little villages that used to be out here, how so much of this territory used to be, you know, farmland, small communes. So even if it's a little bit too much to handle in a day, today definitely will be, it'll still be kind of glorious nonetheless. Anyways, we're starting out the day with a little bit of coffee at Hexagon, which I think is right over here. This is Stam, which looks really cool. I don't know what this is, but did I walk too far? Oh, that looks cool. Anyways, I don't want to really be out in the rain with my cameras. Totally thought I was dodging the rain, so let's find our coffee shop and get inside before this guy gets all wet, because he's not waterproof. To get the shot I wanted. And there's the sun again. Okay, great. It's like clear blue skies, at least on this street. That's the thing about weather in Paris. It's clear blue skies here, but one street over it won't be. Hexagon, for those of you that are wondering, is a nickname for the country, France, because it's hexagon shaped. So they call it l'hexagon. So I think that's an homage to the country. Did you know that?
No, I actually didn't.
Hey, we're learning together. All right, sir. Well, thanks for coffee.
Good seeing you.
Good to see you too. Literally just talking about like, okay, now what do I go see from here? There are a couple things. One, the Petite Ceinture is here. That's one thing to go see. Then there's also like a really cool metal church that I've heard of, like not heavy metal, but like an actual church like made in metal. So I want to see that. And then there's a roundabout, a really cool roundabout that I do know about that has a really cool view from it. And it looks very different to Paris. So those are kind of the three things I'm going to see. It's my plan, and we'll see what else we find along the way. Today might be a little bit of a shorter one because I'm just exhausted. I'm really, really tired. So we'll see what we get out of this. Let's go. That is, of course, assuming that it's open. Notre-Dame du Travail, Notre-Dame du Travail, Our Lady of Work, is supposed to be a really cool church, and I think I've walked by it once before, but I've never seen it. So we have a lot of territory to cover. This is a really big space. And of course, it's in like the northernmost corner, and the Petite Ceinture is like all the way to the south. So we'll see what we find as we cover that distance. My thought is that I'll go straight to the church right now, give it a try, check it out, and then head to the Petite Ceinture. If I time things right and actually figure out where the heck I am, we'll go check out that really big colonnade. I think it's like the Seoul Square, named after Seoul, South Korea. So we'll check those things out and then just kind of see what else we stumble across as we go along. Talking is hard today. This is a corner I've ridden by a number of times while on bike rides to the south of the city. And you can actually see the Eiffel Tower from here. Oh, we're really close. So Seoul Square, that means that Seoul Square is right up here. Thought it felt familiar, but I didn't realize it was that familiar. Okay, well, we're gonna nail them both right at the beginning here and call it a productive morning. Okay, one other thing that I've never done, this is gonna sound really silly, but I've ridden my bike under this bridge like a dozen times, and I've always wanted to go up on top of it. It is the simplest, silliest wooden bridge, and I believe it's time to cross it. Ooh, it's just turning into a stormy day. Ooh, here we go. Oh, it's everything I ever hoped it could be. Look at it, I'm crossing the bridge. So this bike lane down here, if you keep going that way, it'll take you all the way to Parc du Sceaux. If you want to leave the city, which is not where we're up to, oh, there's the church. I just noticed it over there on the other side. I'm really interested in this church. Okay, Parc de Sceaux is just south of the city in Sceaux, the suburb of Sceaux. And it's the really famous location it's really famous for its cherry blossoms, but it's a really, really nice park. And the chateau, I think, is privately owned, but they're turning it into a museum, something like that. So I've got other videos about that. You can go check that out. It's really, really worth it, including the whole bike ride. Since we're talking about it, why not go check it out? Speaking of checking things out, just look at that church. I'm so confused by it, and like the styling of it, it must be seen from the inside. Square du Cardinal Wyszynski? Mike Wyszynski! Montparnasse is out of our jurisdiction today. It's not in our quarter, but that doesn't mean we can't appreciate it from a distance, just like we are going to get to appreciate from very up close Notre-Dame du Travail. It's really cool because like the patron saints seem to be, at least a couple of them seem to be geared towards workmen. Angels finishing this guy's painting for him. It's a modern church. It's on the outside, it says it's a 19th to 20th century church, so it's only like 100 years old. You can see that. That was super cool. It's very, very different, and seeing everything like that makes me think of the Eiffel Tower, you know, like that's such the right time period for a church like that to be built. Can you imagine if like the metal on the Eiffel Tower looked that pristine? That would be so cool. That was well worth it. That was really cool. If you're ever in this neighborhood, if you're near Montparnasse, I would totally come check this out just because it's super unique. Also, the wind is really cropping up. Okay, let's go check out Square Soul, Place de Soul. It's right here. It's just off to the side. This is a good 1-2, and you're there. Yeah, and I guessed right. They say that it was put up at the same time as the Universal Exhibition was put together on the Champ de Mars. Notre-Dame du Travail replaced Notre-Dame de Plaisance. So there was a Notre Dame named after the quarter, and it lost its spot to this Notre Dame. That's pretty cool that it's all linked together. So this square is also named after Wyszynski, whatever. He was like the leader of the Gauls, which makes sense why everybody was wearing Gaelic armor inside. That is cool. There's so many little random crossovers. Let's go check out this. See, now this is what I associated with the church. This image right here. So I've never been here before. I've been through the roundabout out there, which looks really cool. And I've seen pictures of this square, but I've never been inside. Ooh la la. Oh wow. Is it a rose garden on the inside? What? Wow, these flowers smell super strong too. Weird too because it's not symmetrical. So that entrance over there is not in the middle. Like if you walk to the front of this, hold on, I'll show you. So from the gate here, if we look over and you walk straight forward, the center is there and that is over there. It is kind of bending my mind a little bit. Let's walk over there and see what we find. Not a bad spot to come and sit. Hey, look, there's socially distanced benches. Look at that. Cool. That's cool. It's just open like that. I've ridden past this section once before too. This is all familiar from a bike, but definitely not necessarily, well, definitely not necessarily, but I've never walked here before. It's actually kind of like, because everything's in the same style, the modernity of it doesn't bother me too much. And that square, that place is awesome. All right, let's go check out the roundabout because there's a good shot of Montparnasse from there, I think. And then it's time to start walking south if we're gonna make it to the Petite Ceinture. Okay, what's funny about this is now that I'm looking at it, at the map, I was already here basically. Like Hexagon is just down here. So this is a really easy 1, 2, 3, grab coffee, check out the square and the church. That's what I get for being a gentleman and walking Zach to the metro. Lots of back and forth. This place looks popular. Ooh, oh, that smells good. Oh, now I want pizza. I can stop. What do you think? Should I stop here where there's a giant tomato eating a slice of pizza for lunch? I say yes, because I'm starving. And then we keep walking. Do I? Don't I? That hit the spot. It's kind of like a cheap American style pizza, and it was actually really tasty. I went for the Hawaiian because I haven't had one of those in a long time. 10 euros for a pizza and a drink. Really friendly service. The staff were really nice. Yeah, if you ever find yourself, again, down here by Place du Sol, I mean, and you're looking for like that kind of an experience, which you probably aren't if you're on vacation, but if you live here and you're feeling like going into like a college town pizza restaurant, it'll hit the spot. All right, I'm gonna walk back down the street, make my way towards the Petite Ceinture. We'll see what we find along the way. And of course, if you don't know what the Petite Ceinture is, it's basically this old train line that used to encircle Paris back when they still had walls. So it was inside the walls of Paris, and it was a way of getting around town. And was kind of a victim of its own success because it was the precursor to the metro system, which eventually put it completely out of business. But there's still sections of it that are a park. It's still all privately owned by the train companies. I think almost all of it is, but they've come to an agreement with the city to open certain sections of it as a park. Other sections technically not so open, but they're there. So we'll go check out a little bit of that. I can forward you to my video about it if you want to go see a little bit more in depth. And yeah, we'll see what else we discover along the way. Ooh. Okay. This looks like a detour we're taking. Is this Rue de Thermopyles? Personally, I think this is way cooler than Rue Crémieux. Really similar vibe to Rue Crémieux, but like way homier, quieter, and I would go see that first, personally. Not as famous, but it's also part of the allure. Anywho, kind of turns into a little bit of a private area, a very quiet area. Back to the original hunt. I think it also helps to see this area as like a former village, like a former farming area. It adds something to the vibe. You know, to have these houses and just some of these old buildings popping up, something special about it. I'm appreciating the 14th more than I think I ever have before, just on this little walk. Finally, took me long enough. This is interesting. So we are currently at like the far end. I've never been down this section before. We definitely need to walk this a little bit because I've never been down to this section before. It's really interesting. So before I go down, I've never been in this little corner of the world here. Everything looks so modern, and actually this section looks nice. I like this kind of mixture here. It feels very, I don't know, I always think of Chicago when I'm in this area for some reason, but these buildings like so tightly put in here. And this is a hospital, Dido, the hospital of Dido. So I know that the hospital is back there. I'm guessing that maybe this is the power station for that. But I'm just really curious what these little shops are here. And then let's go down and we'll finish up on the Petite Ceinture for a nice little nature walk in the middle of Paris. Well, way on the outskirts of being within Paris, but you know what I mean. Huh. Cool. Nothing particularly exciting going on over there with the grocery store and whatever, but yeah, this is the campus Dido, so I guess that this is an entire hospital campus here right next to the Petite Ceinture. I've never entered from this side. I'm familiar with the other side. That's where I've been before, so I guess when we jump in here, we'll pop out on the other side where I've been, and that's perfect. And that's a perfect way to wrap things up, I think. So These apartment buildings are right next to this park, and the park is built right on top of the Petite Ceinture, which you can see if we just walk straight over here and look down. So I'm guessing that, oh no, this is blocked off, so we won't be able to go under this section. But you can see that the rail lines are very well maintained, and then there's a blockade, there's a fence right there to keep us from going down this way, but we can still go that way. I'm not hopping any fences today. I may or may not have hopped these fences in the past. I can make no comment. I can neither confirm nor deny. Let's go down there. It's so nice and quiet down here already. The Petite Ceinture, like I said, it's actually a maintained rail line, so they do use it to transport stuff around the city when they need to move supplies or like rail cars or whatever from one place to another. But usually it's just left like this as an open park. The whole thing isn't open, but enough of it's open in all different parts of the city, and hopefully we'll hit a number of them over the course of the exploration that is the 80 and 8. Speaking of which, I hope you've enjoyed this walk through the 14th in Plaisance. And we're finishing it off with quite a bang. This is pretty great. This is really nice. It's warm. It's a really warm day, and it's really nice down here. The leaves are barely changing colors. And yeah, it's a fantastic way to bring things to a little bit of a close here. So I hope that you're having a wonderful day wherever it is you are. Thanks to today's patron producer, Sylvia S. Wong, for putting this whole thing together. I appreciate you sending me down here to get lost on this magical railroad to nowhere. And I hope that the rest of you are having a wonderful time as well. Thanks to all my patrons for genuinely for making this possible. And yeah, I'm gonna go just for a nice little stroll here, take some more shots, and then I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for yet one more exploration into the 80 quarters of Paris across the 20 arrondissements. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for that. Adios. If only I wasn't alone and or I had brought my flashlight with me, I would totally go see what's in there. We'll have to save that for another time.